when you think about asset protection and you think about, violence and crime and everything that falls within the realm of asset protection, in 2020, there were reports out there that said that about $90.8 billion was attributed to losses that happened within retailers. You
Wow.
fast forward, you move up to 21 and went to 94.5 billion. You look at 22, $112 billion. But let me give you this other statistic here. 694 fatalities happened in 2022 that was reported by D&D Daily in a retail setting. And what they reported in that mix, and all goes back to the violent events that are happening out there. And this is what the asset protection community is up against. What they reported back is that 2022 was one of the most violent years when it came to American retail. And when you break that down even further, 381 of those fatalities were customers, and 31 of those fatalities were either law enforcement, security, or asset protection personnel. And that number for the security, police, and asset protection personnel, it jumped 72% from the year prior. Like those are startling facts or numbers to kind of give a state of union of where we are when you think about asset protection in the retail industry in a whole.
How are retailers tackling these kind of issues across the board? It's just a lot to deal with.
There are a lot of ways that retailers over the years have come up with different ideas or strategies or thought processes. I love to share with you what RILA is doing. And so, RILA launched the Vibrant Communities Initiative. This initiative is a collaboration between the National District Attorneys Association and RILA. And the whole approach of the Vibrant Communities Initiative is looking at ways to curb these offenses from happening. So looking at ways to end recidivism, looking at ways to be able to deal with the unhoused individuals, those individuals that are self-administering drugs, on the premises of retailers or in their bathrooms, and connecting those individuals, either looking at how do public officials or prosecutors aggregate charges for individuals that seem to escape through the system, and or how do we defer some of those individuals that are unhoused or might be having some mental health illnesses and things like that to social services entities to be able to get them the resources that they need. And so, Vibrant Communities was launched back in August, and the whole goal there is working in a collaboration, National District Attorney's offices, law enforcement, retailers, sharing information in a way that collaboration is in a way that has never been before, stronger ties, and a way to be able to really kind of support each other as we deal with these events that are happening, and the whole mission on bringing back the vibrancy of our communities.
Well, one thing I'm curious about is the craziest shopping day of the year, which is Black Friday. How has the evolution of Black Friday really impacted asset protection and workplace safety based on what you mentioned before with people dying in stores, in the retail space in general?
It's so interesting how things have evolved for Black Friday. So, I remember the days of the long lines outside the mall and outside of the specific store. I got to go get my TV, or I got to go get that new electronic item that's out there. Now, a lot of Black Friday sales are happening online. We went through the pandemic where a lot of retailers during the pandemic decided not to open early, not to open on Thanksgiving Day, to go back to what we remember, which were those later hours on that Black Friday shopping event or day. A lot of things have turned to cyber now. And so, you have not just a Cyber Monday, but you have a lot of cyber offerings that start in stores and then start online and then make their way into the stores. I think all those factors in there and just the pivotal shift on what the retailers are doing out there has changed the draw, the push, some of the safety concerns where we had people getting trampled over trying to get that TV in the store, get that hot item in the store, has really changed the perspective of that. Coming out of the pandemic, we saw a whole shift on families and being connected at home and then spending time going out into the marketplace. It'll be interesting this year I don't have any secrets to share with you, Peter, from the retailers that are out there. But I think, from my vantage point, it looks like we're going to be going down the same trend that we saw last year, where a lot of people are being conservative as they move into the Black Friday holiday shopping season.